Yeah, Mike, we're used to, for the last couple of decades, aren't we, a fiery rhetoric coming out of Pyongyang, but more measured statements from capitals like Beijing and Washington. But not with this White House, and it's having a big effect.
They will be met with fire and fury.
The war of words between Pyongyang and Washington, but other voices calling for calm. China's Ministry of Foreign Affairs in a statement said China calls on all parties to avoid any words or actions that might escalate the situation and make even greater efforts to resolve the issue via talks. Calmer voices too from inside the Trump administration. US Secretary of State Rex Tillerson said the US isn't considering military action at this time.
I think what the president was just reaffirming is the United States has the capability to fully defend itself from any attack and defend our allies, and we will do so. And so the American people should sleep well at night.
But a different US official and a different message. US Secretary of Defense James Mattis, in a tougher statement, said the DPRK must choose to stop isolating itself and stand down its pursuit of nuclear weapons. The DPRK should cease any consideration of actions that would lead to the end of its regime and the destruction of its people. The White House indicates that all this messaging has been coordinated, but there are questions about apparent contradictions in policy and criticism from United Nations Secretary General, from Trump's political allies in the US, and from allies in Asia too. Normally stoic citizens on the streets of Seoul say they're nervous.
My boyfriend is in the military protecting the nation as a soldier, so I am more worried because someone close to me is involved. And as a Korean citizen, watching such news just makes me more nervous.
And with passions inflamed, DPRK citizens took to the streets of Pyongyang to show support for their country's defiance. And in a show of force, the US flew 2 strategic bombers over the Korean peninsula in a training mission with Japanese and South Korean fighter planes. Fire and fury, not just words in this part of the world. And Mike, we've got more reaction coming out of Pyongyang in the last hour or so. We got a statement fleshing out that threat to the area around Guam, that US territory and military base. We got a statement from the Strategic Force Commander in the DPRK saying that they actually are finalizing plans to fire 4 Hwasong-12 missiles. It's a very precise plan in that region to test their inter-regional ballistic missiles. Also, the statement goes on to criticize Donald Trump as specifically saying sound dialogue is not possible with such a guy bereft of reason, and only absolute force can work on him. So the rhetoric continues, and also a very specific plan, it looks like, from the DPRK for further missile testing right in the US's backyard when it comes to territory in the South Pacific.
So the most important question, what's it going to take to get back to the negotiating table?
Well, you know, even supporters of President Trump's policies have raised an eyebrow over this, because he seems to have rhetorically painted himself into a corner just after that successful 15-0 vote in the United Nations Security Council. Everyone has agreed that there are no good military options when it comes to taking on the DPRK, and it's a crisis that needs to be managed. Remember, there is one plan on the table that by the Chinese about freezing US military drills with South Korea in return for a freeze on ballistic missile testing by the North and no nuclear testing there, paving the way to talks. Now, that has gained some traction in the region, in Seoul. Others may be considering it as well. This is something that's been rejected by the US, but because of all these different voices we're hearing from the administration, it's unclear to allies in the region and also negotiating partners what the US policy is apart from this rhetoric. And that's worrying, because if you have an escalation of rhetoric, possible of miscalculation, but where's the off-ramp? Where's the policy?
Absolutely. Nathan King in our newsroom, thanks so much.
Thanks.